What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What's the Word? Your home for all things sports. I'm your host, Sam Casillas, guys. And before we dive into today's episode, I know what you guys may be thinking over there at home. Like, wait a minute, that setup looks different than the last video. That wall hasn't been there before. What's that closet doing there? Guys, new location just dropped. We are in the beautiful Madrid, Spain, guys. We are here until about May. Got the opportunity to do a semester abroad here, guys. And let me just say, it has been off to a great experience so far. I got here around the middle of January. Like I said, going to be here until around the middle of May, but everything has been so awesome. The people have been great. Been able to see a lot of cool things, meet a lot of cool new people. But guys, this is going to be the setup for the next couple episodes. Guys, I brought the essentials, got the mic. Hey, but what's the word is worldwide with it. We're overseas with it. And without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. The big one, the big game. Big is the Super Bowl. Like, you know how they say, guys, Super Bowl is here. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Run it back. Can Mahomes get the three-peat, guys? But, guys, we got ourselves a good game. And let me just say, before I dive into this episode, you guys better get that popcorn ready. This is going to be probably one of the best Super Bowls in recent years. I mean, you look at these two teams. These are the big dogs right here. And, let's just dive right into it, guys. Let's just, I'm going to say it off rip, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles, America is rooting for you guys. They say you're hating. If they're hating on you, you're doing something right, guys. Everyone's hating on Mahomes' greatness. They do not want him to see that three-peat, myself included, guys. So Chiefs, America is not rooting for you guys. I'm sorry, all my Chiefs fans out there. You might not like this episode, but guys, let me just say, Philadelphia Eagles, you guys got to stop this, guys. You cannot let Mahomes three-peat. But let's just get right into it, guys. For Philly, plain and simple, if they want to get their lick back from that Super Bowl loss 2 years ago, guys, all eyes are going to be on their defense. They cannot crumble under the lights. This is going to be their biggest test. The lights are going to be the brightest. But, guys, they have got to ride their success that they've had in recent weeks in the playoffs. All season, guys, their defense has been the real deal. You take a look. They are leading in just about every category. The Eagles have actually been allowing 174 pass yards a game, which is the fewest in the NFL. They rank first in yards per play allowed and total yards per game. And they also rank second in points per game allowed, which is 17. So, guys, let's just say this defense is the real deal. Points are going to be hard to come by. You take a look, guys. That front four, that defense is really what's been the rock for Philly. They've been able to play great complementary football. Like I said, those numbers don't lie. 174 pass yards per game, which is the fewest in the league. They're averaging, holding teams to an average of 4.7 yards per play and 278 yards of total offensive game. Like, that's just insane. You take a look, at every category. They have a top 5 run defense, pass coverage, and a pass rush unit. This is such a complete defense. And, you take a look at those numbers, and no other team in the season was in the top 5 in more than one of those areas. And the Eagles are top 5 in all those categories, guys. So just off rip, they've been balling out. They've been doing their thing. But this is when it's going to matter the most, when the lights are the brightest, when you're playing against arguably, top 2 best players to ever play in the Super Bowl. You guys know Mahomes is a different animal in the Super Bowl. But, guys, this Eagles team, they are going to be challenged. Like I said, you look at the Chiefs roster, and every year it's like, oh, they're not as good as they were last year. But, guys, that doesn't matter when you have Patrick Mahomes, when you got Travis Kelce, when you got Andy Reid, when you got guys who have been in those games before and know how to win those games. So that's why, Philly's really going to have their hands full this weekend. But, guys, you take a look, one of the big matchups is going to be Travis Kelce. But, I really feel confident going into that. The Chiefs, have been struggling. It has been a little bit of an off year for them. And you take a look, like the Eagles, they really got to take advantage of that. On a per-play basis, they were a top 5 team in pass coverage among all position groups. So you take a look, they were, top 5 team in defending wide receivers, defending running backs, and defending tight ends, guys. So, like I've been saying, yards are going to be so hard to come by against this team. And like I said, they just got to keep doing what they've been doing. You take a look at their front four. Looking at those 2 guys in the middle of that defensive line, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, those guys are tremendous in the run game. They are, they're forces to be reckoned with. They are disruptors, and guys, they all play so well with each other. And that's why I think, this defense, it's really going to be all eyes on them. One area where they've really been thriving, guys, they got to win the turnover battle, which is something like I said, they've been doing all playoffs. They have a plus 10 margin in this year's playoffs, which is more than twice as much as any other team. But of course, like I said, it's not going to be easy. You're playing against a team who thrives on not turning the ball over. You're playing against Mahomes. You're playing against the Chiefs. And, prior to that AFC Championship game against the Bills where it was a crazy botched handoff, 1 in a million right there. Such a rare sighting. That was their first turnover since November 17th, guys. So they have done a great job at not turning the ball over. But like I said, something has got to give. The Eagles thrive on forcing turnovers, but the Chiefs are so good at not giving the ball away to their opponents. So, guys, that is really going to be the matchup. And really, like I said, I talked a little bit about that front four for the Eagles, and I think it's really, really going to be all eyes on them. Like they always say, the game's going to be won in the trenches, but really, this one I think is really no different. You take a look at just the Chiefs' O-line, they're looking really, really vulnerable. And, since going to their current O-line in the Week 15, they got Joe Tooney, Mike Caliendo, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Jawan Taylor. Guys, they have not put up the best numbers. That O-line has allowed a pressure rate of 9%, which is the fourth highest in the NFL, guys. So, they're going against the best defense, the best front four in all of football, guys. And this is a defense who thrives. Fangio doesn't like to blitz a whole lot. He doesn't need to blitz a whole lot because he has crazy guys on the front four. Some linebackers that come up and rush off the edge, and that's really where they make their bread and butter, is just really causing those disruptions. But speaking on that offensive line versus defensive line, I think really one of the matchups is going to be one of those outside linebackers for the Eagles. You take a look at Nolan Smith. He's going to be locked up on Jawan Taylor a lot. And let me just say, guys, Jawan Taylor hasn't really been his best year, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But you take a look at Nolan Smith. This was a guy who became a starter midway through the season, and he has been all gas, no brakes, guys. And just looking at the playoffs, he already has 4 sacks. And you take a look at the Eagles' all-time leader in playoff sacks, it's Brandon Graham, and that's 5.5 in 11 games. And take a look at Nolan Smith. He already has 4.5 in just 4 games. So he's already climbing the ladder in great company, like I said, with Brandon Graham. And then let's take a look at that matchup within the matchup. Like I said, Nolan Smith versus Jawan Taylor. And Jawan Taylor has a PFF. He's been ranked 62nd out of 81 qualified tackles, guys. Let's let that sink in a little bit. 62nd out of 81 qualified tackles. In 18 games this year, Jawan Taylor has given up a team-high 41 pressures and 7 sacks. And there's only 7 tackles in the NFL that gave up more pressures than Jawan Taylor. So, guys, this might be barbecue chicken for Nolan Smith. I'm not even lying. Like, if they can, no matter where you slide on the O-line, like I said, they're going to have to, pick their poison with the one-on-one. So that's what the Eagles are really banking on, winning their one-on-ones because that front four is so dominant. But I got to say, no matter which way you slide, you're going to get one of those guys one-on-one. And, if it's Nolan Smith versus Jawan Taylor, guys, like I said, it might be barbecue chicken. Nolan Smith might get like 3 sacks. And it doesn't matter, where you slide, like I said, because the Eagles are so good. And like I said, they don't need to blitz that much because they're so good at getting to the quarterback. And, if they can't get home, that's going to be the most important part of the game is that Eagles front four. If they can wear down Mahomes, if they can contain him in the pocket, because I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. If they can't, get to Mahomes, if they can't get him on the ground, it's going to be a long night for them. And I think, that's going to lead to the Chiefs holding up that Lombardi. But guys, let's take a look, a little stray away from defense, guys. I think there's going to be such a huge focus on Jalen Hurts and his QB play, guys. But this is a guy, he has not been asked to do much at all. Since they got Saquon Barkley, he had the keys to the boat, and Saquon's been driving the hell out of the boat, guys. But, this is a guy who is not asked to do much in the offense as he was 2 years ago when they made that Super Bowl run. And, this is a guy who can, make opponents pay when they're selling out against the run. So he's going to, with the ground game and the defensive performing at such a high level, there's going to be an increased focus on him just to not turn the ball over. And guys, he's going to have to make some throws. He's going to have to, be careful with the ball. And he has been excellent in that regard, giving the ball away just 3 times since the Eagles' Week 5 bye, guys. So that's really where the Eagles have thrived so much. They haven't been turning the ball over. They've been leaning on that ground game. They've been trusting Jalen Hurts to make the throws when he needs to. And guys, he's been doing it so far. And we got to remember that Jalen Hurts is still Jalen Hurts at the end of the day. So don't get me wrong. They're going to try to get that ground game going. And I think it's going to be tough. But, like I said, Saquon Barkley, this guy is an explosive play waiting to happen. We saw it in the first snap of that NFC Championship game. He went 60 yards to the crib on the first snap of the game. Like, come on now. And, like, you pair that with the best offensive line in football. This is a team, guys. They just wear you out. They wear you out. They're 4 quarters of literally just wearing you down. You got Saquon Barkley. Like I said, you got the best offensive line in the league. And, with that play style, it's really no surprise that Philly ranks first in time of possession. They're averaging 32 minutes of possession a game. So it's, guys, when you're leaning on that run game, when you're wearing defenses out and you're having fun with it, I mean, like, guys, these guys are bullies. And, they're looking, that O-line, they're looking to take your lunch money. They're looking to make hay in the run game. You got a great running back in Saquon who, even if, the line's wrong, he's going to make you right. And that's really where, the Chiefs have struggled a lot. Let's take a look at the Chiefs' run defense. I mean, they are night and day versus 11 personnel and 12 personnel. And just to fill you guys in, if you guys aren't familiar with that, 11 personnel is when you have 1 running back, 1 tight end, 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. But guys, let's just take a look at these numbers, guys. When teams are in 11 personnel, Philly, this is actually mind-boggling. So when they're in 11 personnel, they're third in yard. The Chiefs defense is third in yards per carry. But, excuse me, I got that wrong. Guys, when teams are in 12 personnel, so when they got those 2 tight end sets, the Chiefs are giving up third most yards per carry versus 11 personnel. They are bottom barrel in the league. They're 24th in yards per carry when Philly uses 81% 11 personnel, guys. So this is a team that thrives. They have a great blocking tight end in Dallas Goedert. So Chiefs really do struggle against 11 personnel. Like I said, they rank 24th in the league in yards per carry allowed. And like I said, the Eagles, they love to run out of 11 personnel. 81% of their snaps this postseason are out of 11 personnel. You take a look at Saquon Barkley's numbers. He's averaging 6.9 yards per carry when they're running out of 11 personnel, guys. So this is simple. Run the rock out of 11 personnel, spread the defense out, and you got to give Saquon Barkley just an opportunity to make space and just make defenders miss. He's averaging 147.3 rushing yards per game just in the playoffs, and he's rushed for 5 touchdowns in Philly's 3 postseason matchups. So, guys, this is a guy who is a workhorse, and, he's rushed for 100 yards in 14 out of the 19 games this season, and including 5 straight games. So you take a look at that, and you're like, oh, my gosh, like, this guy's going to run all over the Chiefs, and he might, but they're not going to make it easy on him. But you take a look at the Chiefs. They've gone 18 straight games without allowing a single 100-yard rusher. So, guys, something's got to give here. But you take a look at that, like, this is going to be a dogfight right here. And, you got the best offensive line in the league against a great run defense in Kansas City, a team who loves to tackle, who rallies to the ball, who are great at tackling. So it's not going to be easy, guys. So I think that's really going to be a great matchup. Like I said, they rank bottom barrel in the league in yards per carry when teams run in 11 personnel. So I think, if you're Philly, that you got to attack them out of that personnel. And like I said, that's Philly's bread and butter, 11 personnel. You got a great tight end in Dallas Goedert. But, guys, something has got to give. So that's why it's going to be such a great matchup, because you got this guy, Saquon, like I said, who's in his last 5 games, he's rushed for 100 yards, but the Chiefs haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 18 straight games. So, guys, the Chiefs are well coached. They are in a great position always to play the run. And like I said, they tackle well. So you don't see a ton of yards after contact. You don't see guys running around the Chiefs a lot. But I think, you have an elite offensive line. You have an elite running back. And, I think it's going to be a great matchup. But I think Saquon is going to get his. And then, you take, like I was going back to that point, Jalen Hurts is going to have to make some throws. It's absolutely true. You take a look. And honestly, I really do want to see Jalen Hurts being aggressive. You see the Chiefs like to run a lot of cover 0. So I think if the Chiefs want to blitz, I think Jalen Hurts has got to, he can't be scared. He can't be playing passive. And, he's got to be able to take some shots down the end zone. He's got to trust his guys. One-on-one, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, even Dallas Goedert. He's loved that safety blanket out of the tight end spot out of him in the playoffs. So I really need Jalen Hurts. Like, obviously, he's done a great job, like I said, of not turning the ball over. But it's the Super Bowl, man. You got to get aggressive with it. You got to take some shots because you're not going to get too many with Kansas City. And, it's going to be a nightmare. Let me just say, as long as the Eagles do not fall behind early on in the game, they'll be fine. Because the Eagles, man, if they get one-dimensional, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if you let Kansas City just pin their ears back and play pass defense. But, guys, this game, like I said, if they're elegated to throw, that could be a problem. But, A.J. Brown, he's got to create, some sort of headache for the Chiefs defense. You look at that matchup, he's probably going to be lined up with, their best corner, Trent McDuffie, who's great in coverage. But, he is a nightmare for anybody. A.J. Brown can route anybody up. So I'm expecting that to be a big matchup. Like I said, there's going to be heavy emphasis on the run game. And Jalen Hurts is just going to have to do what he's been doing. Make these simple throws, not turn the ball over, which is easier said than done against a Chiefs defense, I know. But guys, I think this year Philadelphia is the much more complete team than we saw them in that 2 Super Bowls ago. They're not the same team. And like I said, rushing yards are going to be hard to come by. This team is not the Commanders. The Chiefs are not the Commanders, who ranked 28th in the league in season in yards allowed per rush, which is 4.8. And they were 27th in defensive rush success rate. So Barkley, he is averaging 147 rushing yards per game in the playoffs. And guys, the Chiefs do not let people run the ball on him. So even with the Chiefs, like I said, they've only allowed a rush longer than 33 yards once. Only once this season. And it's crazy because you have an explosive player like Barkley who thrives on those big runs. But, it's really going to be a matchup to watch. And then just like Jalen Hurts, like I've been saying, he's been far from perfect. But, guys, he has been making a lot of accurate throws into one-on-one coverage this playoffs. And when teams blitz him, that's what he's so smart with the ball. And, like I said, he hasn't been asked to do much, but he can still make opponents pay. I'm expecting to see a lot of, guard, tackle, counter, QB counter, running back counter with Philly because that's really their bread and butter, getting those big athletic linemen into space. Guys, that's where they thrive. And I expect, Kansas City to wear them down defensively, but guys, they are not going to stray away from the run game at all. And how could you when you have a guy like Saquon back there in the backfield? But then, that's going to be it for the Eagles. You take a look at the Chiefs, though, guys. This Chiefs defense is the real deal. And they're not going to have to score a lot of points, plain and simple, if they want to win this game, guys. Chiefs finished the regular season ranked 4th in scoring defense. They've only been averaging 19 points per game. They've been allowing opponents, guys. So this pass rush, which had 10 sacks against the Texans and the Bills this postseason, they have also been coming alive, guys. So you got Karlaftis, Chris Jones, to name a few. Those guys are, like I said, guys, this Chiefs roster, they just know it's something about the playoffs. It's something in the water. They know it's in their DNA, and they know that the stakes are much, much higher in the playoffs. So these guys turn it up a notch in the playoffs, and that's why, they haven't had to score as much because their defense is so great. But, guys, guess what? Philly's offense is great as well. So that's what I'm saying. This is going to be really a true – it's cinema, guys. As much, as the world didn't want to see Philly or Kansas City – in the Super Bowl, guys, this is probably the best of the best in the league right here. And, just sticking on that track, it's going to be a lot of focal point on that Chiefs O-line to keep Mahomes upright. He's been sacked 36 times in the regular season and then another 5 times in the playoffs. By the way, that 36 times was the most in Mahomes' career. And, guys, that Chiefs O-line, they have been down bad. They have been mixing guys around. They've been struggling getting people, out in position. They moved Joe Tooney over for tackle to guard. So, guys, that's kind of been a reason. They haven't had that continuity. And, guys, the consistent pressure on Mahomes led to a 67.6 QB rating. And that's been the second worst full season of Mahomes' career, guys. So, there's going to be heavy emphasis on that offensive line and just how they win the line of scrimmage, how they dominate. But, guys, people are saying, oh, my gosh, never bet on Mahomes in the playoffs. But, guys, what's life without taking risks? Give me Philly for the win, guys. Philly, they're going to be holding that Lombardi. They're going to stop the Chiefs three-peat. And that's going to be my pick for this episode, guys. I'm really liking Philly. And, maybe I'll learn my lesson one day betting against Mahomes. But, guys, life's about taking risks. So, give me Philly with that. That's going to wrap up this little Super Bowl discussion. Let's move right into the next topic, though. Laker fans, baby, how we feeling, guys? Luka Dončić, you are a Los Angeles Laker. And guys, let me just say, when I found out, pretty much like the rest of the world, guys, I was like, no way this is real. This can't be. I thought it was like, I had to double check the account, make sure it wasn't like one of those troll pages. But guys, believe it, Luka Dončić, you are a Laker. And let me just say, honestly, when I saw the news, I was really shocked. And at first, I really didn't know how to feel about it because I was like, oh my gosh, like, the Lakers, AD's been balling out. The Lakers really could use a center. Because, guys, you guys know me. One of the things I've really been living and dying by is the fact that AD is at his best when he's playing the 4. And I was really praying that the Lakers were going to get a 5 so that can allow AD to move over to the 4. Like I said, that's where he's best in help defense. That's where he's best offensively. Guys, and they went and traded him. So I was like, how does that work? But, looking back at it, I'm really liking this trade a lot, just because of how the roster has been stepping up. You look at guys like Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, and they're doing exactly what we brought him over here to do. Gabe Vincent, it was a tough start, and part of it was because he was injured. But, he has really, really been coming alive as of late. He's been turning into that 3-and-D player that we signed him for, guys. His defense has been great. He's been shooting the ball at a high clip. You take a look at Vanderbilt. So glad to have him healthy because, guys, when he is back in the lineup, he missed so much time. But when he is in the lineup, he is a defensive menace, guys. He is heckling. He's grabbing rebounds. He's getting steals, guys. He is everywhere on the floor. And then, you look at Dorian Finney-Smith, another one of those 3-and-D guys who has been great. So that's why, I was kind of okay. And then I watched the Knicks game, when they played against Karl Anthony Towns, who's a great big. And, guys, they clamped him with no AD. The Lakers have actually been looking really good without AD. So, like I said, I was confused. I was a little upset, honestly, just because, I'm a huge Anthony Davis fan. And, another one of the pieces, I was really upset about Max Christie, honestly, and a lot of you guys are like, oh, my God, he's a casual. No, like, oh, the Lakers, thank God he's off the Lakers. But, guys, he is not a casual. He's not. This is a guy who was, he's finally getting his shine. Shout out JJ Redick, too, because Darvin Ham, he had him rotting on the bench, wasting away his potential. And, Max Christie, he got a couple starts, and he started balling out. He's another one of those 3-and-D guys that the Lakers desperately need. But, I'm really hoping he does his big thing in Dallas. Same thing with AD. AD, very center-heavy lineup in Dallas. So that's going to allow him to play the 4, like I said. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out for AD and for Max Christie, too, because, like I said, a lot of people are like, oh, no, who's Max Christie? Who's that? Like, guys, he is a gamer, and he was really, really just starting to evolve. And there's really no telling where his ceiling is at. But just know that he played great in the purple and gold. And I was a little shocked about that trade, too. But, guys, Luka is him. So the fact that we got Luka, and then you take a look at Bron, like everyone's like, oh, yeah, we're building for the future. Guys, take a look at LeBron, guys. He's got at least 3 years left in him. He is out there toying. Just put up 40 the other night, 40 plus. Guys, he's out there making these young guys look silly. And it's insane. It looks like he hasn't even lost a step yet. So, the Lakers, you're talking about, oh, yeah, they're going to be good once LeBron's gone. But, guys, they're going to be good for a minute, guys. They're going to be good for a minute because LeBron's still balling and he's still doing his thing. And then, I was nervous. I was like, oh, my gosh, like this trade really hurt us defensively. And then the Lakers went and signed a center. They went and traded for a center, guys, Mark Williams. And, this is a guy who is having a great year. He's averaging 16 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 2 assists and 1.2 blocks a game. So this guy is balling out. And you take a look at his standing reach, 9 feet, 9 inches, guys. That is the longest reach in the NBA. That's longer than Wemby's reach. Just to put that into perspective. And the fact that he is a Laker, he is a lob threat, he is exactly what Luka wanted. And I'm really, really, really excited to see just how the Lakers look up. And, just like I said, shout out to JJ Redick because, a lot of people, there were a lot of eyes on him. First-time head coach, the Lakers. The lights are always bright in L.A. Lakers, they're always in a win-now mode. But, guys, JJ Redick has got this team looking completely different defensively. If you just look at their offense, guys, he's got them out there running plays. He's got them out there running sets. And it has been working so far, guys. But I'm really, really, really excited to see, what the Lakers do, how Luka, fits into this Lakers team. Because, guys, we got a great scorer, one of the best scorers in the league. And, God, I think the league's in trouble now, guys. But one of the questions I want to ask you guys, Laker fans, let me know. Basketball fans, let me know. game on the line. Who are you trusting to take that last shot, Luka or LeBron? I'm thinking Luka for 3. Bron, I don't know, but Bron, Bron's clutch, guys. But maybe Luka for 3 is my opinion. And if you need a deuce, let LeBron put his head down, get to the rack. But guys, things are really looking up for the Lakers, like I said. But it took me a second to get used to seeing AD gone, guys, and it's gonna hurt for a little bit, guys. But I'm hoping that the Lakers shape up, and like I said, they've been looking really good without him. So hopefully this trade pans out because, guys, the Lakers, they got to get another one. They got to get another chip. And, they've been close, Western Conference Finals, but close isn't good enough, guys. But I'm really, 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 really excited to see how this trade just pans out for the Lakers. And, obviously I'm hoping the best. Lake Show, I'm hoping for that banner hanging soon in crypto, guys. But that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. I appreciate you so much for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl, guys. Let me know, drop in the comments your predictions for this year's Super Bowl. Who do you guys got winning the big game? Like I said, I think Philly's going to take it, but do me a favor, guys. Drop a like, drop a sub, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend. We're trying to go viral with this What's the Word stuff, but guys, I appreciate you all tuning in. That's going to do it for today's episode. I'm your host, Sam Casillas. We'll see you next time, guys.